Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder if there's a quicker way to understand if a child is struggling with severe irritability and temper outbursts, a condition known as Disruptive Mood Dysregulation Disorder or DMDD? This new study might have an answer. So imagine these researchers noticed that while there are tools to help identify DMDD, some of them are quite long. This can be a real problem, especially in busy clinics or when kids just can't sit still for a long time. Think about it, filling out a super long questionnaire can be tiring and might even make people rush through it, not giving the best answers. So they ask, can we make a shorter but still really good tool to help identify these symptoms? This is where the story of creating a short form of a questionnaire called the E-SWAN DMDD comes in. The main problem they wanted to solve is that DMDD is characterized by really intense irritability and frequent temper outbursts, often happening in multiple places like home, school, and with friends. While existing tools are good, they can be too long, creating what's called response burden. The researchers wanted to keep the accuracy while cutting down on the time and effort needed to complete the assessment. They believed that a shorter version could be super useful, especially in places where time and resources are limited. So, how did they do it? They took a really smart approach, using something called item response theory or IRT and computerized adaptive testing or CAT. Don't let those fancy terms scare you. Think of IRT like figuring out which questions or items on a test are the most valuable. Some questions might be really good at telling you if someone has a lot of a certain trait, while others might not tell you much. CAT is like a smart quiz that picks the next question based on your previous answers. It is designed to get the most information about you with the fewest questions possible. They used a large dataset from over 3,800 kids and teens from the Healthy Brain Network. These kids answered a longer questionnaire called the full E-SWAN DMDD, which has 30 items using their fancy IRT and CAT methods. They simulated going through the questionnaire with these kids. The computer basically played the role of the child answering the questions. And the system learned which questions were the most informative. These informative questions are the ones that best help figure out if someone has DMDD symptoms. After the simulations, they found that just 4 items were the most important, the ones the smart system kept picking. These 4 items became the basis of their new short questionnaire. The most important item overall was about controlling the urge to take anger out on objects or throwing things at people with friends. Other key items included controlling that same behavior at school, avoiding getting into fights with friends, and handling anger when they don't get what they want at home. This new 4-item questionnaire is now called the E-SWAN DMDD short form. The researchers then tested how well the short version stacked up against the original 30-item version. And guess what? They found it was really good. The scores from the short form and the full form were very similar with a strong correlation. This is great news because it means that just by answering these 4 questions, you get a pretty accurate picture of what you would get from answering all 30. They also looked at how the short form related to other measures. They found it was good at picking up on things like irritability and distress tolerance, which are related to DMD. Importantly, the short form showed a weaker link to a general measure of psychopathology. That is like a broad catch-all for mental health problems. This suggests the short form is more specific to DMDD symptoms, which is what they wanted. It kept its strong connections to externalizing behavior, which basically means acting out, like aggression or rule breaking. This makes sense because irritability and temper outbursts are a big part of externalizing behaviors. They even found that the short form showed a slightly stronger connection to sex differences, which is interesting because DMDD is known to be more common in males. This suggests the short form can still capture important patterns seen in the real world. So, what's the big picture here? The researchers successfully created a much shorter version of a tool used to assess DMDD. This short form is incredibly valuable because it maintains strong accuracy while drastically reducing the time and effort needed for participants. This makes it much more practical for use in busy clinical settings, schools, or research projects where time is a major constraint. Think about a school psychologist who needs to quickly screen a classroom, or a doctor who has only a few minutes during an appointment. This short form can give them a really good initial idea of whether a child might be experiencing symptoms of DMDD. It helps them identify who might need a more in-depth evaluation without overwhelming anyone. Now, no study is perfect, and the researchers were honest about a couple of limitations. One thing they mentioned is that they originally tested the short form using data where the 4 short form items were part of the longer questionnaire. They suggest that in the future it would be even better to test the short form by having people take it completely separately from the full form. With some time in between, this would be a more realistic test of how they compare in practice. Another important point is that this study only used the kids' own reports, but often with DMDD, parents and teachers see different things. So future research could look at how the short form works when parents or teachers are filling it out for the child. This multi-informant approach would give an even richer understanding of the child's behavior. But despite these minor points, the main takeaway is incredibly positive. They've given us a powerful new tool that is quick, efficient, and importantly, accurate. This short form of the E-SWAN DMDD has the potential to significantly improve how we identify and understand severe irritability and temper outbursts in young people, making a real difference in how quickly and effectively kids can get the help they need. It's a great example of how smart statistical techniques can lead to practical solutions for real-world problems in mental health. And that's a wrap for this MindLab investigation. What do you think about this new short form? Does it seem like a useful tool? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you found this breakdown helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to RUBIN'S MindLab for more science stories like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.